For coming out and watching the real short box here. We're live. My name is Donald, and to my my left, I believe, is what you'd be seeing him as, is the ever-present, ever-dangerous Kevin. Just below me here is Darren, and over here, right in the corner, will be Sir Jarrett. So. I'm going to step aside for a second here. You'll probably still see my face, but I'm going to be doing some of the posting and things like that. So, Kevin and the gang here, if you guys want to take it away, I'm going to do that, and then I'll be right back to join you.
All right. Hello, everybody. How was your weekend, fellas?
I'm coming equipped with no sleeves and a hood, so you know how this goes.
Oh, I know. You're dressed like you're some kind of street vigilante there.
That's right.
I'm surprisingly doing well with 2 vodka tonics, a beer, and a lot of hot dogs in my stomach right now because it is Memorial Day.
You like frankfurters?
Yeah, I'm a cheeseburger guy, but I was feeling the hot dogs today, and I couldn't turn back.
So. Oh, I see. Now, that's an American thing, to enjoy some hamburgers and hot dogs on Memorial Day. But we must remember what the true purpose of Memorial Day is. Tell them, Darren.
The true purpose is to honor those who have given the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom. What's interesting is there was okay, so generally speaking, I don't like social media, but there was a really cool thing going around on social media that was actually defining all of the veteran holidays so that people I thought that was, very helpful. Like some people really didn't understand the purpose of Veterans Day versus Memorial Day.
Oh, yeah, that's common. Yeah.
Yeah, versus Pearl Harbor Day versus Independence Day. So, it's really, I thought that was actually something that's very helpful. But, obviously, we're very supportive of folks here that have given their lives to make sure that we're free. So, once again, we're doing our Memorial Day tribute here. And like Jarrett, I, too, was having hot dogs, although I only had one, and it was from the doghouse.
The doghouse. You know what? Their stuff's not too bad. It's not too bad.
It's not. I'm a little old school. I'm used to paying no more than $1.25 for a hot dog. So that's something that's hard. I grind my teeth a little thinking about.
But Darren, you have to understand, it's the 21st century. It's not 1995 anymore, sir.
No, it is not 1995 anymore. I wish it was still 1957. It was just a simpler time.
Simpler time?
People would get excited about a microwave, Kevin.
What's a basic hot dog at Pink's cost? Like a basic...
Pink's? You're looking usually between $6 and $10, depending on what you want.
Yeah.
Okay, Jarrett, I went ahead and posted on my page. If you want to pull from there, do the palookas and the short box. That would be awesome.
Got it.
Thank you, sir.
We're talking between $6 and $10 actually for a hot dog at Pink's. I was there a couple of months back, just before everybody started locking in their homes. I was at a Pink's eating, and I usually don't roll with Pink's. No offense, I'm just not a big hot dog guy. Yeah. But it was surprisingly a little pricey, I must say, for what you're getting. The hot dogs, they're made out of the grinder.
What are Dodger dogs? They're pretty up there too, right?
Dodger dogs. All right. If you buy a dog, you can actually buy a Dodger dog at Universal City.
Really?
And you get away with about $4 or $5 at an actual Dodger game. You're talking between $8 and $12, depending on what you want on your Dodger dog.
Right.
That's American dollars, folks.
That's pretty crazy.
Not Canadian.
Yeah, and honestly too, when you're at a Dodger game, it's not freshly made. Like, they make it, and then they wrap it in foil, and then they turn around and pull it out of the warmer and hand it to people. Now, Kevin and Donald and I know, working at previous movie theaters, we just know the quality of what that hot dog is. It was great when it came out of the steamer, but now it's at the steamer maybe just a little too long. And I don't know if they're monitoring it the way that we used to. I don't know, Kevin, I know Kevin remembers this. I don't think Donald had quite gotten there, but at our old movie theater, we used to have these things, I would just call them kicks, where they would grab some topic and they would experiment on it for like a month or two. And I remember they got on this kick where they were like, how fresh are our hot dogs? And for like 1 to 2 months, we had a manager at every single concession stand being like, hey, these hot dogs, according to my watch, they're 75 minutes old. You're going to have to throw them away.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And, I mean, these were Hebrew National hot dogs, which at the time were very, very difficult to get a hold of.
Good quality dogs.
Yes, they're 100% beef, which for a hot dog, let's just be honest, in terms of hot dog evolution, that's a step in the right direction, folks. And I think everyone knows this. So I was just slightly surprised. And, of course, naturally, you would have employees making sure that they overcooked and had too many hot dogs in the hot dog machine there so that they could take some for their lunch.
And, and it was bad, too, because, some of our fellow employees at the time, that was their dinner. And, like, the fact they made you throw it out, that pissed me off. That used to piss me off when they would do that.
No, and it should. It should. I mean, you're talking about, if it wasn't that, it was half off, everything at our cafe. So, we used to have really quality burgers and such for, $4 and some change with fries and some water. So that's how that goes. So, Kevin, talk to me about Greendale Community College. I noticed you're sporting out giving some free advertisement there.
We're getting a lot of ding-a-ling-a-dings. Is somebody on Facebook and getting a lot of messages or something?
Yeah, I was about to ask you about that. I was looking for the link.
Okay.
Is it there yet?
Well, it should be on my page.
Okay, it's on your page.
I'll make it public because I don't know if it's pulling up or not. I don't know.
Great opportunity.
I'm getting some messages from folks.
Great opportunity for some inside baseball for some of our listeners who will get to see the true struggles of running a remotely distant podcast. So, Kevin, talk to me about Greendale Community College. I see you're.
To be honest with you, I got it at Comic-Con about, I want to say 7 years ago. I never had the chance to watch the show Community, but I know a lot of people told me how good it is.
You're shameful, Kevin.
I know, shameful. But I am familiar with this, though. You know what this is, right?
Would that be the Black Panther?
No, come on, Jared. Jared, you know what this is, right?
Thundercats.
That's right.
Oh! Lionel.
One of my top 3 favorite cartoons of all time.
Okay, Jared, it should be public.
Okay, I see it on your page. I will send the link out to Julio and company.
Okay, thank you.
Julio and company.
I'm going to turn my fan on. Guys, I live in the valley in Los Angeles. It gets hot.
Oh, it's hot all over.
Oh, it's about to get hotter. Are you kidding me?
I got the fan and the wall unit air conditioner blowing right now. And let me tell you something. The one thing that's kind of nice is usually we can't do this when we're recording in the bunker. So, yeah, it's nice to be able to have this in the background and not have to worry about interrupting the noise. So, high quality stuff. Let's see here. So tonight,
I'm now giving all the links to everybody. Are you doing the same, brother? It looks like you're doing it too, Jared.
Doing it too. Just so you guys know, yeah, we are doing the Battle of the Sidekicks, and that is just about the Chuck Norris film Sidekicks, right? With John
we're going back in the day now.
Back in the day, yeah, man, I watched Chuck Norris movies all the time.
As you should, as any red-blooded American would.
Any true red-blooded American, not especially fake American.
Especially the Cannon films.
The Cannon films.
Oh, those Cannon films are hoot, guys. They are.
That great documentary that they did not too long ago.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That was pretty good. I saw that.
That was like my childhood VHS rental history. Like that was that documentary.
Have you guys ever seen the American Ninja movies?
I was
just talking about that today. I remember seeing the first one in the movie theater.
You're kidding me.
No.
Your parents took you to see that as a little munchkin?
No, I went with my brother's friend's mom, who was, sketchy.
Right.
You're not kidding. That's like an R-rated movie.
Sometimes occasionally show you half a boob, and you'd be like,
yeah.
That kind of thing? Yeah.
So, a friend of the program, Calvin, if you guys remember, Calvin Jung was actually in American Ninja Part 3. And, of course, he had some interesting stories he was telling me. He said that the thing that he was most happy about with American Ninja 3 is having the opportunity to go to South Africa for a few months and just kind of hang out with Steve James, his buddies, and all that. And Calvin is someone who's basically has a lifetime dedication to the martial arts. And the thing that he really complimented Michael Dudikoff about was, Michael said, look, martial arts are a new thing to me. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I am an expert in all martial arts. I'm not going to teach people how to do their kicks and their punches and stuff. I am an actor. I'm doing my best to act. And he really liked that, because you do have a lot of people that think they're real martial artists, and they're it's a bit of an exaggeration, to say the least.
And you know what's funny about Dudikoff? For some reason, I kind of liked him better in the role, even though
watch where you
step. Was actually the real martial artist.
Don't step in any Dudikoff.
Michael Dudikoff?
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
You know, the other guy who took over, Sean Bradley, I think his name was, he was actually a real martial artist.
Yes.
But I bet he wasn't as good, was he?
That's what's funny. Like, for some reason, it didn't translate as well. It's really strange.
Well, the first thing they teach you in fighting on camera is acting the fight. Because I just don't care how good your moves are. Like, you have to sell me that you're really fighting and that you're in actual danger when you're on the screen. Now, I don't claim expertise in too many things, but I will claim some expertise in 80s action movies. And I'm telling you right now, like, I mean, Jim Cotta is hilarious. Let's just be real. Like, I mean, it's bloody hilarious.
Jim Cotta, yeah.
Despite the fact that man is very athletically talented, but, like, you don't feel any danger in that movie. Whereas you take a movie like Die Hard, where Bruce Willis was basically just a good actor who was playing an action star, and he's so much more convincing than someone who's been fighting their whole life. So this is important stuff here, guys. This is why actors make big money.
Yeah, that's true. It's kind of like wrestling, pro wrestling in a way. You got to know how to sell it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's why I'm a huge fan of Remo Williams.
Man, I didn't watch it till I was an adult, and I think I made a mistake there. I think I would have loved it as a kid, but as an adult, it was just horribly racist and awful. And
Dude, every 80s movie is horribly racist, sexist, anti-gay. Like, oh my God, like, yeah.
Some of that stuff in a good way, but not this.
Except, I think there obviously was a lot less political correctness, and maybe there should have been more sensitivity, except against, the Soviet Union. Screw those guys.
Yeah, Red Dawn for life.
You know, we do have Russian and former Soviet viewers, Mr.
We do.
Soviet Union, not Soviet citizens. The government of
We have just offended our sponsor, the Smirnoff Company.
Yes.
Let me clarify. The government of the Soviet Union, not actual Russians.
or Kazakhs.
Or Kazakhs, or Czechoslovakians, or Uzbeks.
Tajikistanis.
Okay, great. See, we go overboard here at the Real Short Box.
Azerbaijanians.
Understand that if we were not picking on the Soviets in our movies, what would happen to Spies Like Us? What would happen to War Games?
True.
What would happen to Red Heat with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Also true.
Police Academy, which one was it? 4? Where they had the Russians in it?
No, I think
3 or 4.
When it's
7 is Mission to Moscow.
Yeah, 7. That's it.
4.
But that was after the Cold War.
I thought there was an earlier one where they had like some Russians involved. I thought there was another one.
I just remember, people say that Ronald Reagan's defense spending turned the tide in the Cold War. Incorrect. It was actually Rocky Balboa defeating Ivan Drago.
That's right.
Because anyone can change, guys.
It's true.
Anyone. If I can change, then you can change.
Anyone can change.
Jared could change.
No. Well, maybe. Yeah, I think so.
Speaking of wartime propaganda, on this Memorial Day, my lovely lady wanted to see something that was, patriotic on television. So we actually watched the first 2 Captain America films, with the third one coming later. And I must say, I was perhaps a little too hard on the first Captain America movie when it had first came out. I just found it to be ho-hum when I watched it. Upon revisiting it now, it's a little better than I gave it credit for, I will say.
I like the first, 45 minutes, hour, where like the origin stuff with where he's wearing the original costume and it's like hilarious and he's doing all the propaganda. That part was
Yeah.
not so hot on the Red Skull. I don't think they did him too great, but.
Well, Donald wasn't too upset to see him not return for Infinity War. Hugo Weaving, playing the part. It's like Donald has some beef with Hugo for some reason.
But they had a
Me?
practically playing him.
As the Red Skull? No, I mean, I'm fine. I just didn't like the fact that he was like, oh, I'm too good to return.
But he's Hugo Weaving.
And?
He's Australian. He's Australian.
Then when you get to part 2, like, I mean, the way that they portrayed the Winter Soldier was unbelievably excellent. Like, there are so many, in my readings of comic books, there are so many more interesting characters that got way worse treatment than this guy.
Well, did you say Winter Soldier? Because Winter Soldier used to be a sidekick to a character named Captain America, and he was named Bucky, and that's kind of the theme of what we're doing today, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That is within the theme of what we're doing today, guys. We are here for our big time showdown. Let me bring up the image here real quick. It's exciting that we got such a lovely image, thanks to the lovely Maria.
Thanks, Maria.
We are talking about sidekick battles. These are all of the people that said, when I grow up, I don't want to be president. I want to be vice president.
Exactly.
There's nothing wrong with being vice president. You know what? They have a pretty. A lot of people don't know this. You know where the vice president of the United States resides?
I do. They have their own residence, correct?
Yes. Do you know where it is?
I don't know exactly.
It's at the Naval Observatory in Washington, D.C.
Oh, interesting.
There we are.
You know what?
Look at that beautiful, big, beautiful image over our faces here that you guys can't see, but I can.
Oh.
Superhero Smackdown sidekicks. It's wonderful.
First round.
Yeah.
Round 1.
It's funny because in this image is almost every single person that I have in the fights that I'm doing. I'm doing Aqualad versus Abe Sapien and Arthur and Kato, and then the only one I'm not doing is Nightwing and Winter Soldier.
Nightwing. By the way, once again, props on your casting of Nightwing for the Blue Beetle Ted Cord Return Season 4.
Oh yeah, that's my boy Colin. He did a great job.
He's a cool guy. We like Colin. He's a good guy.
Yes.
Colin is a true fan. He is a true comic reader. He is a true comic fan.
Didn't he try out for the role? Like really? Like for real? Like for the DC show?
I don't think so, no.
I thought he actually tried out for one of the...
Nah, he didn't need to. Once he got that, the Blue Beetle web series, he said that was the pinnacle of his career, and he actually just quit altogether. He's retired.
Speaking of the Blue Beetle web series, that final episode was the tits. That was really good.
Right? Wasn't that?
Yeah.
Like,
That was fun.
I very much enjoyed being able to get a lot of things in there. I think we tried to do a lot of callbacks, like, for instance, if you watch the first episode of the series and then this last episode, you'll see when I open the freezer in this final episode, there's Brussels sprouts, just like there was in the first episode. And, like, I couldn't find my phone because it was behind a bag of Brussels sprouts, and I made a comment in the first episode about that. At the end, in the credits, we play the Catfish and Street Slim blues song that we had played in the first 2 seasons at the end in the credits. When we were doing credits, we did that.
Another talented young man from our ArcLight days.
Yeah, and a bunch of other stuff. Like Jarrett was able to finally get in there as a quick voiceover for Dr. Fate. So
probably some of my best acting.
Yeah. So officially, everybody that's in the Real Short Box had a role in the Blue Beetle.
Yep. My homework assignment, by the way, after this show, is to write an entire list of television shows that had less seasons than Ted Core the Blue Beetle Returns. And that list will be...
Swamp Thing. Number 1.
Right. Swamp Thing, yeah.
Out Arrested Development.
For now, yeah. For now. Oh, Sammy says, what up, dudes? So
What
Sammy
up?
is here. Also, Maria says that my brother wants to know if pork chop counts as a sidekick.
Pork chop.
Well, if we're talking about Grand Theft Auto 5 pork chop, Chop's a dick. Like, he'll go chew up some fools. So, if we're talking about that, pork chop.
Or are we talking about the Pork Chop Express, Jack Burton's Mack truck from Big Trouble in Little China?
That's the first thing.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that popped in my head.
Yeah.
Was the Pork Chop Express. So, yeah, I would say the Pork Chop Express is definitely a sidekick.
In the mail.
Right, definitely a sidekick there.
Big Trouble in Little China on DVD. One of the happiest days of our lives.
Such a great movie.
Oh, she said it's from Doug. I've never seen Doug in my life. I don't know what that is.
Oh wait, is that like the Nickelodeon cartoon, Doug? That's what it sounds like.
Something that little kids watched that I was too mature for.
Of course you were.
I was too busy
You had time to watch those
with
Dead
the
movies.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Adoy. Too busy.
We were watching the X-Men animated series. We
Yeah.
didn't have time for that.
Batman the animated series. Yeah, I didn't do Doug. I don't know who Pork Chop is in that, but anybody? Did anybody watch that?
Actually,
the show, but I don't remember Pork Chop.
my lady and I last month they were airing the first episode on Boomerang, and we did check it out. And yeah, it was clearly I didn't really like it then. I really don't like it now. My opinion. I didn't get the show.
I suppose I could have watched both, Maria, but I didn't.
I mean, honestly, like, I just preferred Hey Dude and Salute Your Shorts.
I remember Hey Dude.
I will say, Maria, that somebody once told me back when that show was on that I looked like the bully from Doug. I don't know. I mean, we both have sharp noses. That's all I can think about.
She watched that, and see, Maria's very active in our chat right now. I would encourage you guys to potentially keep your YouTube live feed running as well if you can. So I guess we should present our business today here, guys.
Yeah, we can get down to brass tacks here and see what everybody thinks as far as our superhero sidekick battles. Guys, this is amazing what we're going to be doing here. We're going to be doing this kind of like you would in the NCAA tourney.
March Madness.
Yeah, March Madness, where we'll have brackets. We'll have everybody, we'll have 14 matches tonight, guys. 14 matches. That means there's going to be 7 overall winners. Out of those 7, we're going to pit one against the other, against the other, against the other. We're going to add one newcomer into the mix. So, obviously, because it'll be an uneven number. So, we'll add one newcomer into the round robin, into that second tier. And then we're going to have everybody else face off against each other. And we'll see who wins out of that. That'll be, 7 or 8 matches. And then we'll have, we'll have more from there. Whoever wins from that will go to the next round. And then we'll have an ultimate winner in about a month, I would say? About 4 weeks, probably, since we do this once a week.
For about 3 weeks.
Well, in the words of Shang Tsung, round 1, fight.
So, Maria said that she can totally see it, Jarrett. Like, with the... I don't know if she means with your sharp nose or that you look like the bully, but she said she can totally see it.
Yeah, same.
And she said she had time for all those shows. She just didn't do homework. I mean, I didn't do homework either, but I went out and lived. Like, I went out and, I went to the arcade, and, watched other people play games because I didn't have any money. But it was still fun. Still fun.
Hey, man, arcades were expensive.
Yeah, they were. Usually 50 to 75 cents a game, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that shit...
Get up your coins real quick.
Like, $20. You could spend $20 in an afternoon. Easy. Easy. And that's like for me, that was a whole month's worth of allowance. That was That was 2.5 months worth of allowance, guys.
Or as we would say, well worth it.
Yeah.
All right, so who's our first battle of the evening?
Well, let's see. I'm going to pick one here randomly, and we'll see who has this one. Okay, number 1 on my list is Doiby Dickles. Let me post a picture of Doiby Dickles here real quick, guys. The sidekick name is Doiby Dickles, so bear with me real quick while I pull this up.
All right. So the audience knows this is actually my battle. So as he pulls up Doiby Dickles, Doiby Dickles is quite a stereotypical looking thing, just so people may or may not know him. First appearance was in Green Lantern #3, March 1942. Created by one of the favorites on this podcast, Bill Finger, and Erwin Hassan. Full name is Charles. Even though it says Doiby, it's pronounced Derby Dickles. He's with
Okay.
Okay, so his abilities are he's a skilled street fighter and driver and uses a pipe wrench as a weapon. Pipe wrench, guys. So you kind of got a heavy-looking dude who looks kind of like the Kingpin, and he's got a pipe wrench.
And he was the sidekick to the original Green Lantern, Alan Scott, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it would be Yeah, that would be correct. First appearance, All-American Comics. That would be All-American Comics number 27, June 1941. Sorry about that. My photo of him. Do we have the photo up now, Donald?
No, sorry. Hang tight.
We will. I could talk about Derby Dickles all day. No, not really. But we're gonna try. So this guy, basically, he's got suspenders, kind of like beige pants. He's got a yellow shirt with black stripes, and kind of like a Kevin. What do you call that? Fedora. He looks totally gangster. He kind of looks like Luca Brasi from The Godfather, if you know what I mean. He's definitely somebody who definitely walks around and he's probably beaten one or two people.
Sorry about that. I brought up an image of Doiby, or Derby, whatever you want to call it.
But will we be seeing him sleeping with the fishes? That's what we're going to find out, huh?
We are going to find that out.
That's he's an interesting looking character. He looks like Pappy McDrunkerstein. He looks just like an Irish drunk. I'm going to be honest. You know, your stereotypical Irishman, you know, with a pipe wrench and, green trousers, suspenders, and a bowler hat. And, one of those old-timey striped, kind of like a white, not quite a dress shirt, but more like a work shirt type thing, but no buttons.
Oh, Alan Scott, would you be joining the JSA now?
So he will be going against Woozy Winks.
All right, let me bring up an image of Woozy here for everybody to see.
Who debuted, for some backstory, in Police Comics number 13, November 1942. He is mostly known as a sidekick for Plastic Man, and he is a bumbling, inept, overweight, and slovenly man. He has one unique power, and that is he saved a wizard from drowning, folks, which is kind of an interesting backstory. And he's rewarded with a spell where he can cause a force of nature to protect him whenever he's in danger. So if he doesn't have that spell, in my professional, real short box opinion, Derby Dickles would beat him to death with that pipe wrench.
Right.
Because Woozy was a small-time thief. He's basically nothing. Now, does he have top-shelf defense against Mr. Dickles? No question about it, but he doesn't have any offense. In my view, this one all the way goes to Derby Dickles, and it might not even be close.
So
Just
you're
in a drunken, like pipe swinging rage.
Right.
Woozy doesn't make it at around 1 minute.
right. Woozy though, he has this defense that's he can save himself at any time he wants from a wizard. Like a wizard will help him.
Well, Well, he saved the wizard from drowning, and the wizard gave him a gift that basically gives him defense from any danger.
So how's Derby going to beat him with a pipe wrench then?
Because Derby actually has an offense. I don't think this guy has a defense. Like, this guy is defense only. You have to strike back.
Right. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, he can only get away so many times, I guess.
Yeah, there's only so many times you can be saved.
Yeah.
I don't know how strong the defense power actually will be if this man with a pipe wrench is consistently charging after you, swinging at you. So aside from that defense mechanism, nothing would suggest to me that Woozy has any offense that would be effective in this fight. I'm going to have to go with your very stereotypical Luca Brasi looking guy here who's going to just beat him down.
Yeah,
okay, so we're going to give
no argument with me whatsoever.
So we're going to give this bout to let me take him off the radar here. Woozy, you are gone. It's going to be Derby.
Sorry, Wooz.
Derby Dickles. What a name. Both of them. What a name. I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, there's Woozy Winks. I was like, he's like a big-time Plastic Man sidekick. I was like, I wonder if anybody else has like a ridiculous, and I was like, oh, there he is. Derby Dickles. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. Okay, so that one went pretty fast.
Yeah, some of them are going to be like that.
But massively entertaining at the same time.
Sammy says that she thinks that on the first guy for sure, he slightly reminds her of the Penguin mixed with someone out of Peaky Blinders. That is a very good observation, Sammy.
Yes.
I agree 100%. He does look like a character like he could be out of Peaky Blinders, for sure. And if anybody hasn't watched that show, by the way, I highly recommend it. It's very good.
But watch it with subtitles.
Not the worst idea.
Yeah.
Or
Don't
just
get that fucking Peaky Blinders.
right. Or watch it if you're Irish and inebriated, and it'll just it comes through osmosis, I think, or something. I don't know. Works really well for me.
All right. Would we like to move to our next battle?
Yeah, we're going to go down the line here. Next one is going to be Abe Sapien versus Garth.
Ooh, I'm definitely curious about this one.
So let me pull up a picture so everybody knows who Garth is. Garth is Aqualad from DC Comics. Aquaman.
Oh, I thought you were doing Garth from Wayne's World.
No, sorry.
Oh.
This is the best picture I could find of Garth. So he's very emo in this shot, guys. So I'm sorry. That's Garth. Aqualad is an interesting character. He's actually just as powerful as Aquaman, really. And maybe even more, because he does have the communicational skills, but he also has the ability to manipulate water, much like Mera. Because later he became known as, what was it, Tempest, correct?
Yeah.
Aqualad? Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So he's got water manipulation, and he's animal friendly from below. So he's got these like telepathic abilities in a way. So he's a very strong contender for someone like Abe Sapien. Abe Sapien's powers, by the way, let me bring Abe up here real quick.
And some of his powers featured in the Hellboy films are some of the coolest moments in those films.
Right, because he can swim underwater.
No! He can put his hand on walls, and he can feel what's in the next room.
Yeah, there's that.
And
He's got some abilities, nothing that's going to help him at all. Honestly, this was one of those where you're cutting up bait and you're just throwing it in to try to get the big fish. And unfortunately, Abe Sapien is the bait, because this is too easy, guys. Just way too easy. The way I have it going is that the easiest way I could describe it is have you ever caught like a little fish, or had a fish in a fish bowl and you shook it too much, or like it was in a bag that you got from the fair or whatever, and it just got shaken around too much and it started to float up, it just died, its bladder burst, that was the end of it. That's basically what Aqualad is going to do to Abe. He's going to put him in a giant bucket, so to speak, which is the ocean. He's going to manipulate the waves to crash him back and forth either against the shore or just sloshing back and forth between two waves inside the ocean until his bladder bursts or he just falls apart. And that's it. There's 1, 2, 3 punch. Poor Abe Sapien, he's out the door. He looks cool, but he has nowhere near the power set that Aqualad has. So he doesn't... Unfortunately, there's no chance here. Anybody has anything against that, let me know.
Actor Doug Jones turned 60 this week.
Wow.
Played Abe Sapien in the Hellboy movies.
So I know...
Did he play Silver Surfer as well?
No.
Yeah, he did.
What was the Oscar-winning one? Where he played like an Abe Sapien creature.
Lady in the Water.
No, not Lady in the Water.
Lady in the something.
Whatever. Yeah.
Love of Water.
Lady in the
Like water for chocolate.
Lady in the Water is a Shyamalan film.
Well, both of those no one's going to rewatch, so there we go.
Basically like a modern Creature of the Black Lagoon.
Man, I really enjoyed it.
Maria's got it. Shape of Water. Thank you, Maria.
There you go.
Man, I really enjoyed The Lady in the Water, but it's also terrible.
You do not accept what, Sammy? What don't you accept? She says, I do not accept this. You actually think that Abe Sapien could take Aqualad?
I mean...
Because I guess my next question would be is, when did you start drinking?
Yeah.
My only thing is I'd give Abe Sapien maybe a win is if we're doing like, well, what incantation are we doing of, or incantation, not doing spells. What incarnation of Aqualad are we doing? Are we doing like orange shirt, like Speedos? Or are we doing like Tempest?
We're doing kind of a cross in between. He's got some of the manipulational skills with the water, and he's able to talk to the fish in the ocean and stuff like that. So,
I mean, Abe Sapien's got experience, but I don't know if he's got any power.
right.
He's just kind of like he's like a nerd he's like nerd Submariner with no strength.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Sammy. It's just the way it is. If you look up Aqualad, you're going to see his power set's far and above Abe Sapien. So it's
if
just
Abe Sapien could get close to hand-to-hand combat, he would still lose probably pretty bad.
yeah.
If it was like the shape, my point was because they're both Doug Jones. If it was the Shape of Water sea creature, that'd be different because that thing was like violent and
Right.
would affect the woman. But Abe Sapien's kind of docile and passive. So
Yep.
yeah, I'm sorry.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Abe.
Abe's getting flushed.
Okay, I got another one. You ready for this next one?
Go for it.
Bucky Barnes versus Dick Grayson, guys. Right out the bat. This is probably our biggest battle.
That's like gold from cream of the crop right there.
Yep.
Sidekick.
And we're coming right out with it, guys.
Yeah.
Right out there.
This is a good battle here.
Who's
I'm
got
going
this
with the
one?
Nightwing versus Winter Soldier version.
Nice.
Where we get hardcore here. Now,
Okay,
of course,
we're going.
What's that?
So this one was yours, right, Kevin?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to bring up Nightwing first. If you want to give a little background about Nightwing, I guess, just a tiny bit,
Okay.
in case people don't know who he is.
Yeah, Nightwing was formerly known as Robin and as Dick Grayson, Batman's first sidekick. His parents were killed and family were killed at a circus. And of course, he's known for what's that?
Naturally.
Yes, naturally. Known for his acrobatic skills. Grayson is skilled in many forms of combat: Aikido, Kung Fu, Eskrima, Capoeira, Judo, Aikido, Taekwondo, Jiu-Jitsu, Karate. Yes, that's right. Jeet Kune Do. Oh, wow. Jeet Kune Do. He knows that, too. Sambo, Ninjutsu, and boxing. And he's deadly with twin Eskrima sticks, which are no joke. You can break some bones with those things. And, of course, he has a bunch of batarangs and other weapons in his utility belt. Then, of course, we have Bucky Barnes.
Hang on one sec, Kevin.
Oh, sorry. You didn't get to him yet. Sorry about that.
That's all right. I'm having a little trouble pulling up. The image is not pulling up, so I'm going to procure a new one here real quick.
And Bucky would have been relevant for Memorial Day if he'd stayed dead. But
That's true. That's true. But he didn't.
Terrible.
So we'll do Veterans Day, though. He gets Veterans Day.
Yeah, he did Veterans Day.
Yeah.
Not bad for like a 100-year-old guy, right?
No.
Okay. Now let me pull this up. And okay, here he is. Here's an image of Nightwing, Dick Grayson, everybody. This is what he looks like in case anybody doesn't know. He is no joke. He's trained with, I believe, Lady Shiva, right? Who was one of the League of Assassins members, or very similar to a League of Assassin member. One of the most, if not the deadliest group of assassins in all of the DC universe. So very formidable foe that he was able to fight and defeat. So if he's able to do that, he's got a few tricks up his sleeve. So that's Nightwing, and I'm going to pull up now. You wanted to go to Winter Soldier, correct, Kevin?
Yep, Bucky Barnes.
Now this one's going to leave a lot of people. This is a big one that it could really go either way. Really could.
Yeah,
for sure.
Now, unfortunately, the image I have of Winter Soldier is tiny. So I'm going to put him on the shoulder of Nightwing.
Oh.
Not being biased.
Right. He's either going to punch him in the ear and take him out, or he's going to be a parrot. I don't know which.
So he's basically like Ant-Man or the Atom or something?
At this point right now, yeah, he's looking like Ant-Man, guys, or Doll Man.
Well, Bucky Rogers, for those, of course, who have seen any of the MCU movies, best friends with Steve Rogers, fought during World War II, and presumed dead at one point. But, of course, he came back as the Winter Soldier, a fully armed, trained soldier, hand-to-hand combat, martial arts, a master of military weapons, grenades, firearms, and of course he has a very special left arm, a cybernetic prosthetic with superhuman strength and enhanced reaction time.
He calls it the Stranger.
Well, that might be, that's true. So the way I see this battle going down, I see this going on for quite a while. I mean, these guys are going to stretch their abilities to the full limit. You're going to see Nightwing launch all his weapons from his utility belt, the batarangs, you name it. Those Screamer sticks, of course, are his favorites, so those are no joke. I can see Winter Soldier obviously disarming a lot of his weapons, and if he gets a hold of his throat, that's bad news. But since he's a master of martial arts, I can see Dick Grayson getting a slight, I mean very slight win. This can even be seen as a draw, but I think Nightwing slightly can win this battle. Just slightly. But it won't be easy. Especially when you're a master of like 10 different martial arts, you'll find a way to get out of it.
I object to Bucky Barnes even being on the list. And I'll tell you, Bucky Barnes to me, especially, it's all about branding. Right. And if you watched the Captain America 2, The Winter Soldier, in my view, Bucky Barnes' sidekick is kind of insulting. I just don't view him as a sidekick. Like, I mean, this guy is a supervillain in many respects. Not, supervillain like a Thanos or anything like that, but like...
Well, you know what, Darren? I guess we can call this the battle of the former sidekicks.
You're also thinking more MCU than you are Marvel Comics, I think.
Right.
And that can make sense there, definitely, because he was very somewhat villainous and even caused that rift between Cap and Iron Man, which actually wasn't the case in the comics. So there's a lot to be argued for the comic book versions of these characters, particularly because Nightwing never really has been in a movie, but Bucky has, so he's got one up on him there because he's had more visibility. But it's funny, as much visibility as the Winter Soldier has, you still see more people cosplaying as Dick Grayson Nightwing in any comic convention you go to. Hands down, Nightwing is one of the most popular characters to be cosplayed. And there's a reason for that. I mean, he's rich in history with Batman.
Kids.
What's that?
Because there's so many emo kids.
Well, there's that too, yeah. They got the hair. The hair's already set.
Plus, he's pretty much just as skilled as Bruce.
Dude, Nightwing is top shelf. There's no question about that. I mean, you can almost make the case that sidekick, barely a sidekick. Like, I mean, that guy's dangerous.
Former sidekick.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. The Batman family characters, they're trained well. They're very clever. They go against all kinds of villains and very devious characters. So that's why I'm giving Nightwing. And not to say that Bucky doesn't have that kind of thing going on as well, but I just feel that Nightwing has a slightly more experience in dealing with different types of villainous characters. So I think he could slightly win out on this one. I don't know how you guys feel about this. If Bucky will win this one,
Kevin, I agree with you. I've thought about this a lot, and I was on the fence, particularly because if you look at the training that Bucky's had, he's been a spy, so he's had to have a lot of training as far as like his technique, which is very similar to what a technique would have in the League of Assassins. Unfortunately, I feel like an assassin league that is so good at what it does, it's only known in certain circles because you can't get to them or touch them or know who even is a member unless you're elite and you have some talent somewhere, in the martial arts or in your training, or somebody that does. They've killed some of the top people in the whole world. So it's like, it's one of those things where you're looking at the training, I think, more than anything. And I think the fact that he's been trained by not only the League of Assassins in Lady Shiva, but also by Batman. We're talking Bronze Tiger was in the mix at some point.
Yeah. Like
Richard Dragon.
Crop of fighting. Yeah.
Yeah, there's just so many reasons
he's more multi-skilled.
That Nightwing would have the slight edge over Winter Soldier, just in the training alone. Winter Soldier has that bionic arm, and I think that's going to, like, if Nightwing goes into a fight not knowing, that's going to give him a slight edge, but I don't think much, because he's coming in with a giant silver metal arm, and he's going to think it's just part of the costume. I don't see Nightwing being that dumb. I think that he's going to... Yeah, he's going to understand that there's something there. Particularly if you took a swing and knocked some bricks out of the wall. He's going to know that something's up. So
come on. This guy's fought Killer Croc. He's fought all kinds of people with, strength and whatnot. So it's no big deal.
Right. So I think you're right. I think Nightwing takes it. But anybody else have an argument for Bucky?
I just say like 4 out of 10 times maybe Winter Soldier wins, but 6 out of 10 Nightwing's taking it. And also Nightwing is been straight and focused his whole superhero career. Winter Soldier his mind's been tampered with.
Manipulated, yeah.
Yeah, he's been manipulated. So he's kind of all over. He's unpredictable, which could give him one of those 4 wins. But
Sammy's mad, guys.
Yeah,
Sammy's mad. Sorry. Well, I'm gonna take Bucky off Nightwing's shoulder because he's done.
If we're talking comic book Bucky versus Nightwing, then yeah, Nightwing you have to give the edge to.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, Sammy. It's going to Nightwing. Dick Grayson for the win.
Oh, she preferred Bucky? Oh, I'm sorry.
He did.
Oh.
Or does she prefer Sebastian Stan?
Yeah, maybe it's that.
Yeah, that could be. That could be.
Hey, good-looking fella, Sebastian Stan.
So we're giving it to Dick. All right, guys, next one. Here's a good one. This one I was excited when I was thinking of this one and writing it down. I get really excited, and I was kind of ashamed that I didn't choose it myself, and later I realized I hadn't chosen this one, and I was like, shit. But what's done is done. This one is Rick Jones versus Rocket.
That's a good.
Rocket from Milestone Comics. And Rick Jones from The Incredible Hulk.
Rocket was a sidekick to a character named Icon, who was like, he was an African-American Superman, pretty much.
Yeah, from Milestone Comics, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
Who has that one?
I'll take it. Let me see. Rocket. Well, here's the thing, and it's funny because I'm actually reading a story with Rick that's very Rick Jones centric right now. Hang on, here I'm just pulling up Rocket. There we go.
Just so you know, Donald, your LA hat is not going unnoticed. The XFL LA hat is a nice touch.
Thank you.
It's highbrow. It's highbrow.
It's going to be a collector's item soon.
It should be.
Because they're done.
So Rick Jones, for those who don't know, is his first kind of appearance that he's a Marvel character. He's kind of the ultimate sidekick because he was originally he's responsible for why the Hulk is the Hulk. he was the kid that was like playing his guitar when they were going to test the nuclear like silo, and he was like, bam, ba-dam, 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 and Bruce Banner's like, no, there's a kid out there, which is just poor security all around.
Yep.
And so he goes out there and he's like, you got to get out of here. He's like, shut up, Grandpa, I'm playing my guitar. And he's like, oh no, the bomb's going off, and he pushes Rick Jones into the ditch, and Bruce Banner gets exposed to the gamma rays and becomes Incredible Hulk. So I think out of guilt, Rick Jones became the Hulk's sidekick for a while and kind of helped, guide him through his rages and also dealing with Bruce Banner, He was also sidekick to Captain Marvel, the Captain Marvel, the Kree version, the male version, and they would actually switch. I think they could switch roles, kind of like a Captain Marvel, but not, because Rick Jones didn't get any powers. He was a sidekick to Captain America for a second. He was a sidekick for like everybody. The thing about Rick Jones is Rick Jones doesn't really have any powers. He's got his skills. He gets powers later on. He becomes a character named A-Train.
Right.
He gets exposed to gamma energy.
That's what we're gonna go with, by the way. Pretty much.
We're gonna go with that.
Yeah, we're gonna run.
Well, in that case, things change then.
Yeah.
So A-Train is like kind of like a mid-level Hulk, and I think he could also make his body into like almost like an armadillo shell. So hence, he could run like an A-Train. Rocket is Raquel Urban. She was born in Paris Island, the poorest, most crime-ridden neighborhood in Dakota, which is like a fake. DC always has the fake areas. She is the only sidekick of the title character Icon. Let me see what her powers were. I remember she could fly like a. Oh no, powers none. All of Rocket's superhuman powers derive from her inertia belt.
Right.
So she has a belt. By using her belt, she can manipulate kinetic energy, granting some super strength and kinetic force field. So pretty much this belt let her shoot herself off like a rocket. And then we have the A-Train. Now, technically, you'd think a rocket would beat a train. But in this case, you're dealing with gamma energy with a snazzy belt. And it's going to be a matter of seconds between... she could even just shoot herself at A-Train, Rick Jones. He balls himself up like an armadillo shell. She crashes into it. She might knock him back, but in that, her belt gets damaged, and then he just like flicks her in the head and she's out. I mean, it's just too. Once you if it was Rick Jones, it'd be over. She'd just be like, all right, and then knock his head off.
Right.
But if it's Rick Jones A-Train, which we're doing, Rocket doesn't do it.
Let me pull up a picture of the two of them real quick. We're not going to pull up Rick Jones as A-Train, by the way. I'm going to pull up what Rick Jones looks at like as Rick Jones in the animated Incredible Hulk series via Sunday mornings that it came on Fox Kids, I believe.
Yeah.
So that's Rick Jones, and Rocket is coming here. And here's a tiny Rocket. So we've got Rick Jones, and we've got a tiny Rocket. And
if Rocket brought Icon in, then it'd be over, because Icon's like a Superman, but
right.
It's sidekicks only.
Right, so Rocket's gone. Rick Jones wins the day. Rick Jones moves on as A-Train to the next round.
Dude, Rick Jones is also sidekick to Rom the robot. Jesus, this guy was a sidekick for everybody.
What a whore. Sidekick whore.
Secretly, I was kind of hoping you meant Dick Jones, who is the evil bad guy in RoboCop. And I could just see Kurtwood Smith saying, I work for Dick Jones!
Nope, not that one.
Ugh.
Kevin...
I'm sorry. I kept saying A-Train. It's A-Bomb. A-Bomb.
A-Bomb. Okay, I'm sorry. For some reason, I thought that's what you were saying. I don't know.
I mean, A-Train sounds good, too. But
it does. I actually like... I prefer...
A-Bomb does beat a rocket.
I prefer A-Train over A-Bomb. It sounds... wasn't A-Train in The Boys? Or was that somebody else?
That was The Boys, yeah.
Yeah.
Was a professional wrestler,
That's
too.
why. That's why it sounded so familiar.
He was a professional wrestler, and he was a football player.
Okay. Darren, real quick, I want you to break down who's better, the WWE or All Elite Wrestling, while I go get a glass of water.
I mean, the WWE is better, and I don't even have to watch it to tell you that.
Wow. Julio has something to say about that.
I watched the debut of All Elite Wrestling, and anytime that you get folks that start a promotion and run a promotion and It's basically a bunch of blue bloods that are not. They might be blue bloods from a business perspective, but they're not blue bloods from a legendary wrestling perspective. It's out the window for me. You saw this.
So you're saying Cody Rhodes is not from a legend?
You mean
What I'm
Dustin
saying
Rhodes?
is
Dustin
Cody Rhodes
Rhodes?
specifically is not a blue blood. Dusty Rhodes is absolutely a blue blood.
And Dustin at this
Cody
point.
Rhodes
I would
is
say
not. See,
I would say Dustin's pretty up there.
At this point,
Gold
Dustin
Dust.
Dusty, yeah. Dustin is gold dust.
Oh, and by the way, All Elite Wrestling now has Jake the Snake Roberts.
Really? Oh, wow.
He's a ringside manager.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, but, my issue with All Elite Wrestling, it's like when they had Total Nonstop Action Wrestling, it was basically run by Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett is not an elite wrestler, and Cody Rhodes, to me, is not an elite guy. So
would you tell it to their face? Would you tell it to their face, sir?
WWE has better branding, better athletes, better wrestling. It still kind of stinks. I'm not going to lie, but All Elite Wrestling, sorry, they don't got it.
Well, would you tell it to those people's face, though?
He asked me to break them down. I didn't think he asked me to go up to people's faces and talk to them.
Enrique says A-Train Albert.
Prince Albert, baby.
So, A-Train Albert. All right. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next one now. Our next one, Darren, I think you're taking this one. It's Stripe versus War Machine. So,
oh boy, am I looking forward to this.
Let's quickly go over what who Stripe is as a character. Stripe is a unique in this sidekick world, as he is the only adult sidekick to a teenager.
Yes.
Where it's usually the other way around.
It is a sidekick to Stargirl. First appearance, fun little title thing here. Star Spangled Comics #1, 1941. Created by another personal favorite of the show here, Jerry Siegel, as well as Hal Sherman. So just so we know, so we can update everybody here, Stripe. His abilities: powered armor, brilliant designer. These things are good, though. You want, like, being brilliant, I think, gets underlooked in these battles. Superb acrobat and hand-to-hand combatant. Star-rocked racer and great strength. Okay. Altogether human. Now we're going to go to Jim Rhodes. Rhodey. First appearance, Iron Man number 118. Thank you very much, Donald, for the gift. I still have it.
Of course.
Sitting here. He's been around. Experienced Marine who's trained in armed and unarmed combat. Aviator and aviation engineering. And he has a powered armor suit. Now, this armor suit comes with a lot of things. Superhuman strength, speed, durability, agility, reflexes, senses, supersonic flight, energy repulsor, and a variety of offensive and defensive weapons, and regenerative life support. Now, it's obvious that I am biased towards anyone in the Iron Man universe, okay? But as much as, like, when I was reading up on this, Stripe is interesting. Like, I thought, for example, that this would be a pretty quick one, but I'm gonna back up on that. I think Stripe, being a brilliant designer, I'm sure he probably can see a lot of the design flaws in War Machine's suit. Also, too, War Machine at the end of the day without the suit is still a man. If he can find a way to disable that suit in any way, shape, or form, Stripe has a shot. That being said, I don't think ultimately it would happen. I think War Machine's, not only his training as a Marine, because the Marines are a bunch of badasses, as we all know, but I just think that suit is overwhelming to Stripe. All the things that suit can do is absolutely overwhelming. At the end of the day, I will give this about a 7 to 10 minute battle, which honestly, fighting intensely for 7 to 10 minutes is rather difficult. It's rather draining, not an easy fight, but I'm going to have to put War Machine on top here because War Machine also has basically all the designs of Tony Stark in his back pocket, which, Tony Stark, obviously in the Marvel Universe, is king when it comes to these kind of gadgets.
Right. It's funny because in the MCU, they've made Tony Stark Reed Richards, basically.
Yes.
They made him the genius level of Reed Richards. That's not the case in the comic books. Tony Stark is a genius. He's very smart, but he's not Reed Richards. He's nowhere near the level of
Or
Reed
Victor
Richards.
Von Doom.
Right, or Victor Von Doom even. He's not that level. First of all, he can't do magic.
Well, we have to also remember, too, Reed Richards is more of a science brain, and I would say that Stark's more of an engineer brain.
Yeah.
And yes, there's some cross-pollination there, don't get me wrong, but I do see what you're saying.
Yeah. I think with Stripe, Stripe is an interesting. You're right. He's an interesting character. He's very smart, but I think, man, it's really tough because when I was thinking about this one before, I was putting it together in my head, and I was like, well, this guy, we're dealing with somebody that is basically Tony Stark level engineer, but maybe not Tony Stark level has the financial backing Tony Stark level, and I think that's what's going to give War Machine his level up, is that he has the backing of the richest man in the Marvel Universe, really. He's got the backing of Tony Stark's money, and that's going to be able to create and finesse and give him the best quality suit money could buy in the world. Versus Stripe, who's probably he's got some money, don't get me wrong, but he's putting this together in his garage or something. It's like old school Tony Stark, so
like Mach 1 Tony Stark.
Right. If we had put Mach 1 Tony Stark against Stripe, Stripe's going to take it hands down. If we put Mach 2, Stripe's going to take it hands down. The guy's just a formidable foe. But I think Darren's onto something here with the Tony Stark element, with the money and the backing. I think he's going to be able to. Plus his training in the military is going to have him. He's going to have a very strategic mind, particularly in the air.
Right. Really,
and I think that's where he's going to have the edge. And I agree. I think that we would have to give this to War Machine, but it's just two of our opinions. So whatever you and Jarrett think, you go ahead and throw in, and we'll go from there.
Also, one more thing to pitch. If you take that suit off of Jim Rhodes, he's still a badass.
True.
Of course. Of
Right.
course.
Well, you take the suit off of Jim Rhodes, he's a Marine still. You take the suit off Stripe, and it's like a middle-aged stepdad. And I'm a dad, and we can have dad strength, but not that kind of strength. But here's my thing. I have a lot of I love all the Golden Age DC characters, and Stripe was originally Stripesy. And if you look at what he used to look like, he's like this buff ginger guy with a red and white Waldo shirt, but super muscular. And he was the original sidekick to another younger person called the Star Spangled Kid. And then he ended up dating Courtney Whitmore, whatever her name is, mom, and then she found the belt that the Star Spangled Kid used to wear and used Jack Knight's Starman staff and blah blah blah. But the way we're talking here is aside from him being a Marine inside that, the War Machine thing has this thing called guns. It's got guns. It's got a lot of guns on it.
Lots of guns.
Lots of guns. And if you just look at the technology, Stripe would be a really cool, designed by a superior, Disney Imagineer. But then War Machine is the defense contract engineer who's I work on just destroying things all the time. And I know how to, Stripe's I know how to make your childhood great. And War Machine's I know how to kill a village.
War Machine's like the suit that they're working on at Area 51.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't call it War Machine for nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
War Machine. It's built to destroy and annihilate.
So my thing is, I have a deep love for Stripe and all those Golden Age characters, but no, War Machine's taking this. I just see that armor just getting dented up with bullets,
and a corpse inside.
Yeah,
and a corpse inside. Yeah.
Yep, so we're going to give this one to War Machine. I'm marking it down. War Machine is moving on. Stripe is done. Sorry, Courtney. Your stepdad's gone. Okay, well, we're moving on. I'm gonna take this one. This one's my go on this. Let me pull it up. We are going to be having Kato from the Green Hornet.
Nice.
Ooh!
I'm excited for this one.
Who will be fighting Casey Jones from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, man!
That's gonna be a vicious street fight.
Oh man!
So
Don't let your Ninja Turtle bias take over here.
What? Don't let your Bruce Lee bias take over.
you know, to be fair, I do have the first appearance of Casey, and I think Kevin, you do as well.
That's right.
We're
Raphael,
both
#1, if I recall.
Yes, we're both very big fans of the character and of the Ninja Turtles in general. So it's a very cool. He's a very cool character. So Casey Jones is basically, he's a street thug. He's a badass vigilante. He wears a hockey mask and walks around with a hockey stick and a baseball bat, and he goes around beating up people. He's tough. He's got street baller strength. You know, you think of him as somebody you'd see walking down the street and you would cross to go to the other side, because he looks like he would destroy you. He's a big beefy dude. But we have Kato. Kato is such an elite athlete as far as his kung fu skills that he's really going to be hard to beat. He's somebody also that if they had a League of Assassins, he would be in the League of Assassins. So ultimately, I think the way I have it playing out is that Casey can take a hit, and when he can land a punch, it'll ring Kato's bell. I mean, he won't know what he's getting into at first. Casey's gonna take and give him some hits, and he's gonna take some hits too, but he'll keep swinging back. And he'll knock around Kato a few times. But here's the thing with somebody with Kato's training. You knock them around, they see how you're swinging, how you're hitting, what you're doing. They're following you. They're looking at your style. They're stepping back and watching your swing and watching the pressure that you put behind a swing. Your stance, your arm length, everything about you, a good martial artist should take into account. And that's what Kato's doing. In a way, he's toying with him by taking a few hits from Casey, and Casey, did surprise him at first, but he's not going to surprise him again. Kato's going to give him a few roundhouse kicks, and that's pretty much going to be the end of Casey. He's going to be flat on his back, dreaming of better times with April O'Neil. I think that's what's going to happen. Enrique seems to agree with me. He has chimed in as well. He says that... damn, it's tough, but I'll have to say Kato. And Enrique, and in this case, I agree with you, sir. It's not a question of how. It's just a question of when. And this round will last minutes at most.
He will be disarmed of his weapons.
Yeah,
very quickly.
Kato's going to take him. And Darren, I hope you're happy with that, because
I'm honestly, I'm going to slightly disagree with you, and it's only because I like power. I like power. I think Casey Jones is a very powerful individual. Obviously, you must respect Kato's speed, his nimbleness. But if this gets down to the ground, Kato, to me, is not overwhelming when it comes to his strength. I think Casey Jones can drop a few elbows on his face, and that's the fight. Honestly,
I think
Darren, what you're saying pretty much is you're saying Casey Jones would almost be like a Cliff Booth from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, like the Brad Pitt fight scene where he kind of beats the shit out of. He kind of uses his strength and momentum to beat Kato.
I actually saw that scene unfold live, and
yes, you did.
I tell you, there's something humorous about this, because what we learn is, if you do go to some YouTube videos, I will cite YouTube videos. I've seen this in person as well at various, martial arts training centers that I've been to. You don't want to underestimate power, and you don't want to underestimate street skill. Now,
I don't think he will.
I don't want to underestimate Kato's street skills either. Like, I think Kato's knowledge of fighting is tremendous. But I love Casey's power. If Casey gets him down to the ground quick and throws some elbows on him, it's over. But that's just how I see the fight playing out. That being said, I can see the other scenario too, where Kato just basically just roughs him up because he's too quick.
Yeah.
And you have to ask, is the hockey stick being used here? You know, like, I mean,
Of course.
this is something you have to be
Right.
concerned about.
Right,
It's
but-
kind of hard to disarm a guy with a hockey stick.
The hockey stick will most likely be used by Kato because he'll disarm him and use it against him. And that at that point, I don't think Casey's going to get close enough to be able to take him down. And even if he does, I think we're looking at a Hoist Gracie scenario where
That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu.
Kato's got some very good submission holds that he'll be able to lock him into and take some hits while he puts him away.
Break an arm. Yeah.
So either way, whether he knocks him out,
apart, kind of.
yeah. So I think I'm still I appreciate that and I understand what you're saying because if he does get him close and he is able to knock him a few times, I think that is a possibility. But again, I would say probably we're looking at 7 or 8 times out of 10. I'd still give it to Kato.
Okay.
Anybody else in agreement with Darren, or are we going Kato on this?
No, we're going Kato because Kato's kind of fought guys like Casey, you know, when he's out there with Green Hornet with Brett.
I'd give a Casey Jones guy like a 2 out of 10 times he might take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he'd have to get a hold of him and.
Yeah, but your argument there, Darren, is definitely valid. So don't take any ill will on that for sure. That's
disagreement is good.
That's a very good point. Very good point. So we're giving this round to Kato over Casey Jones. And notice I said Casey Jones, not Casey Roy.
We're not allowed to name last names of people we know. We can't take the lawsuits, man.
Yeah, you got to be able to afford the lawyer, dude.
Dude,
I know he can't.
Dude, Kevin's favorite line from Rocky 5. Sue me for what?
That's right. That's the only good line from Rocky 5.
Okay, guys, we got another mind bender here. We've got really cool one. So I'm going to bring it up real quick. Give me one moment here. We have got Marvel Comics Toro. And he is going to be fighting Wally West, Kid Flash.
Oh, what a doozy.
Very, very, very good battle here, guys. So, we've got Toro versus Kid Flash. I'm going to close Toro out. I'm going to bring him back up and put him over top of the image of Kid Flash. So give me 1 second for that. So, who's got this one?
That was Jared.
Oh, I'll take it.
Okay. So
Toro is the sidekick to the original Human Torch, Jim Hammond from the Golden Age, who was actually an android Human Torch. Toro, however, was a human being who had, basically Human Torch powers. He was like a flame kid. He could shoot flames. He could make his full body flames. He could, flame shit. Flash, Wally West, Kid Flash, had all the powers of the Flash. Eventually, that's another thing when we talk about like how and when. Like, he develops his powers to, he might even surpass Barry Allen eventually, right? With like time travel and stuff.
he already has.
Yeah.
As far as an adult, Wally West is more powerful than Barry Allen ever could be.
Right.
But as a teenager, we're still building his powers as a sidekick and stuff. He's still very fast, but I don't think he's quite Barry Allen fast. But he's super fast.
Now both these guys were pretty young. I'm gonna go with, I know it's the more popular choice, but it's also just to me our set. I'm gonna go with Kid Flash, with Wally West, just because his powers, the speed powers, have so much more. There's so many more, much more unpredictability and dynamics to it, whereas the flame powers are kind of one note. He can
Speed
propel
Force is
himself.
no joke.
Yeah, I just see, in a total Teen Titans, story fight, I see Kid Flash just spinning in circles around Human Torch, extinguishing his flame for just a second, and then super punching him in the face. It's speed over thought, and for Toro to have to be like, okay, I'm going to shoot my flame. Like, how am I going to get by the time he's thinking of what he's going to do, he's already done.
It's too late, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, if it was Human Torch, Johnny Storm, who has a lot more experience and stuff like that, and maybe is more capable with his powers, it might be a different story. But I'm going Kid Flash.
I can't argue. Really, I can't. I love Toro. I love his power set. You know, he has the ability to manipulate fire. The only thing I'm going to throw in Toro's favor is that he can manipulate heat.
Right.
And we're dealing with internal heat even from the body, if I recall. So
Right.
he could technically, if he could figure it out, he could boil Wally West from the inside out.
Yeah, it's totally like an Iceman. How Iceman becomes like an an Omega level mutant.
Right.
So it's like once you learn the processes of those powers and the how many facets they can implement themselves into. Yeah, I get that. But in this case, I would just say it's speed over thought. So it's just if he's not like on his A game and he's just like, this is what I can do, he's done.
Yeah, he can boil him from the inside out. But yeah, I think that Wally's going to act a little bit too fast for him to understand what exactly is happening, what exactly is going on. Before he can figure it out, he's already done. He's stolen his oxygen from him, and that's it. He just sees he's on fire, and what would you do if you're a speedster and you see something on fire? You pull the oxygen out, right?
Right.
It just makes the most sense to me.
So I'd like to quote from a movie that is big, that we're big fans of here at the Real Short Box, the end of X-Men 2, when Magneto says to Pyro, "You are a god amongst insects." Let's understand the power of fire here. I think that we can't underestimate what this can do. And also, too, with Kid Flash and Barry Allen, I never view them as vicious killers.
Right.
So my question would be, if Toro's not a vicious killer, I agree with you completely. There's no way he can win this fight. But I guess I would pose that out to you, because you guys are more expert on Toro. Is Toro a vicious killer?
No, he was more like a Golden Age. This is Golden Age character, so he was like happy-go-lucky.
He was a jolly good kid.
Then Wally West would win this. Yes.
Yeah.
He was enjoying his licorice whips and his
And Wally West can be a jerk at times.
Yeah.
Yep, so Toro's gone. Wally West won that round. Guys, we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 left. We're halfway through. So we're gonna move forward here. We're gonna move to one that I think could be a lot of fun. We're gonna do Spoiler versus Jubilee.
Yes.
And Kevin, I believe you have that one. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so I'm gonna pull up a picture of the Spoiler first. If you want to give a little background on Spoiler.
All right, let me find her.
And this is a nice little PNG image, so it looks like she's just hovering. Actually, I'm going to put her right on Darren's hand. So hold your hand out, Darren, your right hand.
This hand?
Yeah, hold it up right there. Perfect. Okay, so you're holding her. And while you're holding her, I'm going to put up Jubilee. So give me one moment for that. Keep holding her. Don't let her down.
Oh, this is a superhero, not Cherry's Jubilee ice cream from Baskin Robbins.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Which is good. Good one.
Okay. Thank you, Darren. You go ahead and let her go. I've got Jubilee here she can rest on.
Outstanding.
And here we go. We've got Spoiler versus Jubilee. Darren, this should be fun, right? Or I mean, Kevin, this should be fun, right?
Yeah. Now, Stephanie Brown, she is the daughter of the villain, the Clue Master. I know Jarrett likes very much.
Oh, my favorite villain of all time.
The Clue Master.
I don't know. Maybe I've read one story with him.
Oh.
Batman villain, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like a D-list Batman villain.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, guys, real quick, my mom has a question. This is a very good question, by the way. My mother says, son, this is a really good podcast, and she says hello. So everybody say hello to my mom, first and foremost.
Hi, Miss Kenny.
Hi, Mom. But she also says that the good question is, she said, that why did the superheroes pick these sidekicks in the first place? And I'll be damned if I can't remember all of these of why they would have chosen them. Like
I thought, and I could be wrong about this, I thought it has something to do with so kids have something to relate to. So you have like a teenage or child sidekick with the adult superhero.
Yeah, I think in the comic book world, that's probably why. Evan says, "Hola, comrades." The Russian there. That's very, very clever there, Evan. Appreciate that. And Sammy says that she says, "Don't know the spoiler, to be honest." Well, we're going to go over that for you, Sammy. And she also says, "Hi, Donald's mom." So Sammy's saying hi to you, Mom. And Dad as well, if you're listening, of course. I just never know. Okay, so spoiler. Go ahead, Kevin. I'm sorry to interrupt. Go for it.
All right, no problem. Yeah, Stephanie Brown is the daughter of a, like you said, D-list villain called the Clue Master, who she was hoping would reform his life, but of course he didn't. And she got hooked up with the Batman family as she was trained by Batgirl, Batman, and the Birds of Prey in martial arts, acrobatics, strength training, interrogation, and of course the classical Bat family detective skills. And she carries a belt similar to that of the other Batman family members, with all the good tools of the trade. And she uses a bow stick or bow staff as a weapon, much like Tim Drake, the third Robin. And she would later on become Batgirl after the most famous Batgirl, known as Barbara Gordon. And she's a cool character. I mean, she was pretty good. You know, they took her out. I don't know what
Robin's Tim Drake's love interest for a long while, yeah?
Yeah, she was, her and Tim Drake had a... I think they killed her, and then they brought her back. One of those.
I hate when they do that. When 52 started. I don't remember her being in that.
They kill characters.
And after that was over, did they bring her back?
I think she got brought back.
Yeah. You know, if they killed her like they did Ted Kord, then somebody needs to do a four-season web series about it and put that up on Rumble Spoon Productions on YouTube or on rumblespoon.com.
You know, that show lasted longer than The Tick.
It's true, it did. It did. So, and then Kevin, who's Jubilee, real quick?
Yeah, Jubilee is, I feel so sorry for her, but she's the daughter of two Chinese immigrants, and she joined the X-Men after discovering her powers to basically create fireworks type effects. And later on, she
loved fireworks.
Yeah, I mean, later on she would have like vampire abilities, but we're not going to use that later. That older Jubilee, so we're going to stick to the original Jubilee characterization, and that's basically what it is. She basically fires off, fireworks type of effects from her hands. Pew pew.
Yeah. So you probably, judging from the way you're describing it, you see Spoiler taking it relatively easy.
Yeah, it's going to be very tragic.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. She's gonna beat the hell out of her with her bow stick, and it'll be over. She'll be fired. You know what's gonna happen? She'll fire the fireworks, mutant ability at her, and Stephanie's gonna laugh and ooh, that tickles. Bam, bam, ooh, bam, bam. And that's it.
Yeah.
Go back to the mall, kid.
Yeah, pretty much. And what's funny? You know what the funny thing is? She'll probably steal her yellow coat and take it with her for the road.
I think she'd take her purpley pink shades and put those on. She'd leave the coat. She'd leave the coat and be like, "This fashion is so 90s," and she would just take the shades and be like, "Well, at least I can be UV protected."
Yeah, how is Jean Grey and Cyclops and Colossus and Nightcrawler and Wolverine all died multiple times or for long periods of time, and Jubilee is still going?
Well, she did kind of die if you think about it. She was one of the undead. She was a vampire for a while.
Yeah, but they still. Yeah, she's such a. She's kind of a worthless character, I gotta say.
She was a great.
Take her seriously.
She was a great introduction. She was a great introduction to all the other characters in the X-Men animated movie or series.
Totally, yeah.
Perfect for that, but no more.
She was literally some guy was like, you know what's cool? Going to malls, mall kid mutant. Yeah.
That chews bubble gum, pops her bubble gum,
All right, we've got another one here quickly. We're going to go to Darren for Kate Bishop versus Roy Harper.
Man, I wish this could be quick. I'm going to do like I've been doing. We're going to break down the tail of the tape here. Let's first start off with Kate Bishop, who is Sidekick 2 Hawkeye. We have a highly skilled archer, fencer, swordswoman, martial artist, boxer, and other forms of combat. Use of 2 battle staves, a sword, a bow, and trick arrows. Now, we have Roy Harper. Some people will probably know him as the Red Arrow. We're talking about superhuman abilities. I don't want to consider that because we don't have the specifics down. Exceptional athlete, master archer, master marksman, expert martial artist, master of Muay Gong, which is a Chinese martial art, I believe, Korean. Weapons expert, use of trick arrows, and espionage.
Whew.
I know I cannot say draw, because that's not going to work here.
Right.
It's just not going to work here. But I'm racking my brain on this one. I mean, we are talking about one of those Yen Wu Ping style choreographed fights from a Kill Bill or a Matrix or something like these. They are too good at what they do. I'm gonna have to give the slight edge here to Roy Harper. I mean, like really, really slight. I like his as an expert marksman. If he is using a gun, not just his arrows, if he is using a gun, I don't know. Like, this is very confusing. This is tough. I just think Roy Harper is the Red Arrow. Just from everything I know through the comics, he's got a little more of a reputation of a killer.
Right.
Hawkeye, I never quite view him as a killer. Now, when he, transforms into, name's escaping me off the top of my head. Ronin, a little different. But I still view Hawkeye as a guy, when I saw that she also had the ability to use trick arrows and things like that, I just don't think she's serious enough in a fight to take Harper. But her skill sets are unbelievable, though. So, man, this is rough on me. I'm going to have to narrowly give the edge here to Roy Harper.
I agree. I think if it was the other way, if it was their mentors, I think it was Green Arrow versus Hawkeye, I probably would give the edge to Hawkeye.
Yes.
But I think being the sidekicks, I think Kate's a little too green still. I think Roy, even in his greenest, has had a lot of experience and a lot of life experience in general. I think he should lay off the crack or the heroin, whatever the hell he was injecting into his veins. I think he should lay off that. But besides that, I think that Kate's just a little too inexperienced. I would give Kate a few more years, and maybe, yeah, absolutely, she's a badass. And I actually, one of these characters that's recent that I was like, okay, I'm okay with this. They didn't kill off another character to introduce her. They actually made her a bloodline of that original character to carry on kind of the mantle in a way, just in case, they wanted to go that route. And I thought, well, this is brilliant. This is the way they should do it in comic books. Carry on the lineage. Just what Batman did with Nightwing. When Batman was, broken, Nightwing took up the mantle and was Batman for a while. And it was, it was perfect. It was like the way it should have been. And I think that's the same way with this. So, unfortunately, though, Arsenal, he's a deadly dude, and he don't F around. So
well, you just said it too. He also went by the name. Well, he was Speedy. Then he was Arsenal, Red Arrow. So when he was Arsenal, he was using a bunch of other weapons aside from the bow and arrow. So like, if they go bow to bow and run out of arrows, and he's got other stuff, he's got the upper hand.
I am gonna say though, guys, if we're talking about aesthetics, just look in costume currently, I'd have to give it to Kate because Arsenal needs to let go of that goddamn backwards ball cap bullshit.
Like, is he really supporting that?
Yeah, I don't know whose design that was, but it needs to stop.
I mean, to be fair to Kate, though, Kate could have won a few battles of people that have already moved on to the next round. I don't think our boy Derby Dickles would do quite well against Kate.
No, I don't think
he has like some heroin like in her pocket, and Speedy like smells it, and he's like, "Hey, dude, that's not cool. I need that."
Right. Yeah, I guess we could give it to him then. Okay, so Roy Harper, everybody in agreement, correct?
Yeah.
We're down. Yes, right.
Okay, and Darren, I understand you have to take off?
I do. Guys, it's always a pleasure. Please listen to our podcast as much as you possibly can out there. And thank you for being the smartest audience on the internet.
Here, here.
We'll see you on the next one.
Okay, so Jarrett,
Yeah.
who do you have left in your little your quiver?
I've got a very quick one.
Okay, let me pull up the images while you give us a little background.
So first up, I got Jughead Jones. You guys might know him. I don't know if you watched the Riverdale show. You might know him from that. Or from the old Archie comics, the guy with the crown. Just a brief... he's basically Archie's sidekick. He's Jughead, or Jug, or Juggy, is the best friend of Archie Andrews. He is smart, sharp-tongued, laid back, and eccentric. He's an eccentric high school student. He is obsessed with eating food. And let's see, most see him as being lazy. He could be identified by his long nose, half-closed eyes, so he's got like a Forrest Whitaker thing, and the S on the sweatshirt. And he's got his, his crown hat, or he calls his whoopee cap. That's great. Now,
Yeah.
he's an all-American boy who loves a good cheeseburger. I can respect that. But now we have Frankie. And if you don't read, Frankie is the sidekick to a character called the Goon, which was on Dark Horse Comics. If you see his picture, you might go, "Oh, is that Mini Jarrett with no pupils?" Let's see here. So Frankie was a shy child, constantly overdressed by a slightly abusive and apparently a bit deranged mother. As a result, he got constantly mocked and beaten up by older kids. Fortunately for him, he met the young Goon during one of those beat-up sessions. Later on, the both of them get cornered by the very first zombies in town, and the Goon is being held down by a group of them. Frankie literally has an epiphany when he hits the zombie in front of him with an axe, and he realizes how much he loves violence. Frank is most easily categorized as a psychopath. His skills and abilities would be Frankie is he's nowhere near the Goon's level in combat prowess. But he has proven himself useful many times, if nothing else, than to watch the Goon's back and act as another set of hands. His weapon of choice is a switchblade that he often uses while saying his catchphrase, "Knife to the eye." Now,
Ooh.
this is going to be very quick. Basically, the Goon, or Frankie's going to stop by a diner in, where is it? Where do they, Riverdale?
Yeah.
In Riverdale. And he wants a cheeseburger. He's super hungry. The only thing is, he walks in the diner and Jughead's eating all the cheeseburgers there. He's doing some cheeseburger eating competition, which I respect. I've won a 10 McDonald's cheeseburger eating contest. I've been there. And Frankie's like, "Hey, I want a cheeseburger." And being the sarcastic, quick-tongued Jughead, he's like, "Oh, sorry, small fry. All the cheeseburgers are out. I got them." And Frankie walks up to Jughead, and he's like, "Oh, that's great. Well, how about knife to the eye?" And then there's just a knife sticking out of Jughead's eye as he goes down, bleeding to death. And Frankie gets to enjoy a nice cheeseburger.
That
That's
works
messed up.
for me. Here's the one caveat I have to this, though. I'm going to take away the picture of Jughead here that I have of him eating at a buffet of all pictures, guys. It's ridiculous. And I'm going to replace it with a picture that you guys might not be familiar with here. It's going to be Jughead Jones when he turns into a werewolf.
Does he turn into a werewolf at one point?
Yes, he does. Yeah, he's in a somewhat current series that's been ongoing here. He is a werewolf. And a pretty brutal werewolf at that. Like, we're talking
Really?
lost limbs, dead bodies,
Oh my God.
decapitations,
What happened to
everything.
Wholesome Archie?
Exactly. That changed when the owner and original operator of Archie passed away. The children then could take the characters and do with as they pleased, and they've obviously taken them in some interesting directions. One of them being that Jughead Jones is now a giant werewolf, and it's amazing. If you watch the playback, you'll see this picture. It's awesome, dude. So I would say, in ordinary circumstances, Frankie's going to take it 10 times out of 10. But if you put Jughead Jones into a werewolf-type scenario, I would give Frankie a 4 out of 10 times he would take it, and I would say the other 6 would go to Jughead. I'll still give the whole thing in general to Frankie, because adding this wasn't something you expected, but I thought it would be a fun little fact.
Right.
So we're going to go with Frankie on the win there, if Kevin's okay with that. Are you okay with that, Kevin?
I'm fine with it.
Speaking of wins, I thought it was interesting, and I forgot to mention this earlier, that Kato, not too long ago, was a woman.
Okay.
In the comic books,
Really?
yeah, in Dynamite Comics. Kato turned from gender swapped and turned from man to lady, and was a crime fighter on her own, basically, not even with the Green Hornet for the most part. Sometimes, yes, but even on her own, she was a crime fighter. So it was an interesting dynamic that they took with that and kind of gender swapped and changed it, which we've seen a lot of lately, to be honest. What with Jane taking over the role of God of Thunder Thor, away from what's his face? Jesus.
From a well-deserving man.
Yeah. Yeah. There we go. Let's get in trouble with our female audience. That's always
I'm just so tired of good jobs being taken away, like hardworking men just losing their jobs.
Right. So what do we have left, guys? We Kevin, you have one left, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Before you say it, you have one left, though. Yeah.
Yes.
Just one? Okay. I've got 2 left here, so I'm going to do one real quick. And particularly why Jarrett's still here with us. I want to go over my choice in a Smackdown here. I'm going to go with Falcon.
Nice.
From Marvel Comics, and his bird, which is Red Wing, I believe.
Wing, I think.
Yeah, which is a shoe company, if I recall. And he's going to be fighting Arthur from the Tick.
This kind of seems like a Frankie Jughead one.
In a way, yeah. In a way. Here's how I see it going down, though, and I'm going to tell you why I see it going down the way I actually see it going down. It's going to be an interesting fight. So this is what I have going on here. Red Wing will peck and claw at Arthur's wings. But here's the thing, though. Arthur never seems in control of anything in his life or in the air or anything in general. So this makes him hard to pin down in a way. Falcon's going to swoop in for a knockout and kind of take over, and just get rid of Arthur quickly because he can see he's a buffoon. But Arthur drops suddenly because he doesn't know what he's doing. He drops out of his from his inside of his costume. He drops down suddenly and accidentally lands on top of the Falcon and rides him into the wall, knocking Falcon flat on his duff and unconscious at that point. Red Wing then tries to help, but in the fight with the scuffle between Arthur and Falcon, he knocks down a power line, which then electrocutes Red Wing. Fried bird, anybody?
Yeah, I like it.
I mean, so as the buffoonery ensues, I think that unfortunately we're looking at a scenario where it's gonna go to Arthur. Arthur's gonna take it.
I know Jarrett has Lockjaw versus Crypto.
Oh yeah.
Okay, go ahead and hit us with that.
So Crypto, Superman's dog, he's a super dog. Lockjaw, the Inhuman's dog, he is a intergalactic teleporter, and he's adorable. I'm going to say Crypto's going to come in strong and even maybe heat vision off Lockjaw's paw. But Lockjaw's quick enough to just teleport Crypto into the sun. And there you go.
Now, does
a hot dog?
Does Lockjaw have to... does he have to teleport as well with somebody, or can he just teleport them? I thought he had to go with them.
I think he can just teleport them to certain places. He might have to go with them. So that might put some... Let me see.
Also, the sun, doesn't that renew Krypto's energy much like it would Superman?
Or is it no? What kind of sun though? What is it? There's like it's yellow sun, right?
Yeah, yellow sun.
Yeah.
So maybe take him to a red sun. Teleport him to a red sun.
Yeah, but I think Donald might be right. You might have to go with him.
Mm.
All right. I love Lockjaw. I think he's dead. Sorry. Yeah.
Poor Lockjaw.
Wait. No. Wait.
No?
There's a possibility.
What?
He teleports them to a world where there's a red sun. So then Krypto is just a normal dog. Lockjaw is like a super inhuman, like giant pug bulldog sort. And now if Lockjaw has the killer instinct in him to physically attack, I don't know what his physical skills are. He's a pretty fat dog.
Yeah.
God damn, this could be a draw. Jesus. All right, I'm going to go with you guys. I got it as a draw right now because they could both...
Okay, so here's the thing. Lobotomies are a real thing, and I think Krypto could easily do that to Lockjaw once he finds out he's a pretty dangerous dude. So, I would say I would give the edge to Krypto over Lockjaw. I love Lockjaw, but yeah, if he has to teleport with him, that really turns it on its
Yeah,
head.
I'm about to get to Krypto as well, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, Lockjaw. I was trying.
He really was. He was trying. So Krypto moves on to the next round.
Yeah, the good news is at least he can beat Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo. You know?
Yeah. What do we got left? We've got one left or two?
Two left. Oracle and Microchip. This will be real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
Oracle, as we know, is Barbara Gordon, daughter of Commissioner Gordon from the Batman series. You know, was severely injured by the Joker that paralyzed her. Was always very brilliant young lady, computer expert. And then, of course, Microchip, David Lieberman, pretty much a sidekick, someone who helped out Frank Castle, the Punisher. Also a great hacker, a great guy with computer skills. Looking at this closely, I'm going to give the edge to Oracle because she's actually gone beyond just the normal, regular world hacking type thing. She's done things for the Justice League. So she's gone beyond, shall we say, the earthly realm as far as computer skills are concerned.
Yeah, I'm going Oracle all the way. She's just got way more contacts.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Equipment.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oracle's the connection between the Justice League. I mean, at this point, she's like the #1 source in DC Comics history as far as like being a talented hacker and the connectivity between everybody. So Microchip just like calls the Punisher and tells him I've hacked into this or that. Microchip is small potatoes compared to Oracle. So there's
he's talented, but yeah, he's
right.
Small potatoes.
She's gonna lock him in his van. you know, he won't be able to get out, or she'll just start it remotely and drive him into the river while he's still in the back, and he's just
or remotely set off a missile that just blows him.
He's done.
Yeah, about to say that. Trigger explosion and blow his ass up.
Microchip's done. We've got Oracle as the winner in this round. Interestingly enough, that leaves us with one left.
Is it like Sun Girl and Donna Troy, I believe?
Donna Troy versus Sun Girl. Now, I have both these pictures. Donna Troy is an A-level sidekick. Basically, she's come out on her own. She is as strong as Wonder Woman and then some. I think actually in a fight now, she probably could take Wonder Woman, interestingly enough. Sun Girl, there's two versions. There's the original. She didn't really have a whole lot of powers. She's got like a sunbeam gun. I think she has the power of flight at some point.
Whose
stuff
sidekick
like that.
was she?
What's that?
Whose sidekick was she?
Interestingly enough, the Human Torch.
Human Torch.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, a lot of staying power there, Sun Girl.
Yeah. She popped
Golden
in.
Girl.
A new version popped up. Now, this new version, this picture of her is so tiny, guys, you won't even be able to tell. So I'm just going to put her in the old version picture of Sun Girl. Next to her. Actually, I'll put her in Donna Troy because this is what's going to happen anyway. I'm going to put her right between Donna Troy's legs at the bottom of the picture. Donna Troy, basically she's Wonder Woman and then some. She's got extra powers. Now, as far as like Sun Girl, Mary Mitchell, was a good acrobat, this is the old school one, and an expert in both judo and jujitsu. She also wields a sunbeam ray gun. So she couldn't even fly, actually. So she really had no powers, and she had a gun, which is cool. And then there was Sela Burke, who was a brilliant engineer. She created a suit with a harness that grants her flight and the ability to project light blasts. She also wields pistols capable of firing concussive blasts. She's developed and constructed her gear and weapons based on her father's light manipulation technology. It's not much of a fight. I mean, Sun Girl's a cool character, but Donna Troy's just too overpowered. She's going to take the guns in her hands and break them after getting hit a few times and just taking it. And then just disable Sun Girl's hands by breaking them and throw her in the trash, which is... I mean, what you would do with a character like that that has no capability of stopping you whatsoever. So Sun Girl, I'm sorry, you're out the door. Both versions of Sun Girl are done, and Donna Troy is the winner. And that's it, gentlemen. That is our Sidekick Smackdown. I'm going to post, actually, in the original broadcast, everybody watching this one, the original broadcast just took place for it, and there was a cutoff. There was a technical difficulty issue that made us lose our stream, so we're posting the finishing part of this, which was our last 3 fights here of the Sidekicks. So, to go down the line on the winners, with Derby Dickles winning versus Woozy Winks. That's round 1. Round 2, Garth, Aqualad took out Abe Sapien. Round 3, Nightwing took out Bucky, which is the Winter Soldier. Round 4, Rocket lost to Rick Jones, surprisingly. Rick Jones took it as a bomb. War Machine took Stripe. Kato took down Casey Jones. Arthur surprisingly took down the Falcon. Donna Troy did topple, of course, the Sun Girl, which you just heard. Wally West beat the snot out of Toro. Roy Harper easily beat Kate Bishop. Spoiler took down Jubilee with no challenge whatsoever. Crypto lobotomized Lockjaw. Oracle laughed at Microchip while he was trying to swim out of his van. And Frankie stabbed Jughead in the eye with a knife multiple times while he was eating at a buffet. So those are our winners. Next week we'll be doing round 2, which will be the next set.
Quarterfinals.
The quarterfinals, yeah. So join us then, guys. Thank you for coming out. Please see us on Instagram, YouTube. We are also on iTunes, Spreaker, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher,
Blueberry, whatever that thing's
Blueberry, iCloud. You name it, we're on it at this point. So join us. Listen to our podcast. Join us on here on YouTube Live. We're usually on Mondays around 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And thank you for coming out and listening to The Real Short Box. And if we don't see you in the future on here, maybe we'll see you
curbside at the comic shop.
Yeah, you got it, boy. All right, thanks for listening, everybody. Take care.
Have a good night.